gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the NASCAR Fantasy Podcast on the channel. We're going to go through all things playoff race predictions tonight, and it's a very special playoff race at that. Not only it is the first race of the playoffs and the first race of the round of 16, it is also a crown jewel event here tonight, a prestigious one at that on Labor Day weekend, the Southern 500. I got my Ryan Blaney camouflage hat on, supporting the troops here tonight, and of course got the shirt on as I do for every race day for the NASCAR Cup Series. So, gonna give you guys my predictions, full fantasy advice, drivers that you should absolutely have in your fantasy lineups tonight, drivers to completely stay away from, drivers that could be potential sleeper picks. For the most part, we are going to focus solely on these 16 playoff drivers here tonight. And if you guys have any questions at the end, I will let you guys ask them, and I will go and answer them away. So, without further ado, we're going to get on into this. But before I get on into the predictions, have to look at this one thing, and that is for you guys to sign up on the Fantasy Mobile, or I should say on the NASCAR fantasy portion of the NASCAR app and or NASCAR.com on the NASCAR website. Go to Fantasy, sign up with your email, free to join, and free to play. Chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race of your choosing in 2022. So we'll see. We'll see if any of you guys might end up winning the playoff portion of that. All right, so on to the predictions. As usual, we start off with the drivers you should absolutely not have in your lineup tonight. We got 3 drivers that we're going to talk about for tonight's race. And we're going to start off with a Joe Gibbs Racing driver, and that is going to be Christopher Bell. Bell comes in tied for the last spot right now. Above the cutoff line, he has the tiebreaker over Michael McDowell going into the playoffs, but Darlington is not a good track for him in the NASCAR Cup Series. Currently, coming into this race, he has 4 career races in the Cup Series at Darlington, and it doesn't matter whether it's been the 550 package or the 750 package, the Levine family racing, or even earlier this year with Joe Gibbs Racing. It is not Christopher Bell's type of racetrack with these Cup cars. His finishes on those 4 Darlington starts are 14th, 34th, 11th, and 24th. Now, Christopher Bell, if you watched my predictions video earlier in the week, is one of my predictions to actually make it to the round of 8 in the playoffs. He is probably my upset pick of drivers who will go the furthest, of drivers that were not exactly expecting to go very far. But I feel like his worst round of these first 2 is going to be this one because he's been solid on the road courses this year. And if he just survives Talladega, I think he could easily make it to the round of 8. He's got to get through this round first. Now, in my opinion, is going to run well at Richmond and Bristol, but tonight, specifically at Darlington, I think he's going to get off to a slow start. I don't expect Bell to get that first career top 10 at Darlington in his 5th career start tonight. So, Christopher Bell is a no-go for my fantasy lineup. I think he should be for yours as well. I got 2 Penske drivers coming up next for the next 2 don't-haves and the only other 2 don't-haves we have. And we're going to start off with Joey Logano. Logano, this is one of his worst tracks in his NASCAR Cup Series career. He doesn't have a win here at Darlington. Yes, his best finish is 2nd, but he's only got 3 top 10s in the last 7 starts. Even going beyond the last 7 starts at Darlington, Joey Logano only has 7 top 10s and 15 career Darlington starts. That's less than half the races he has ran in his career at Darlington that he has finished inside the top 10, both with Joe Gibbs Racing and, of course, with Penske. And again, those last 7 races, not so hot either. If we look at Joey Logano's stats so far this season, they have not been particularly well, especially as of late. He started off the season very, very good. He was on the top 5 in points for most of the first half of the season, and then kind of faded. He is the number 9 seed in the playoffs coming in. We're used to seeing Logano in recent years being a lot higher above, really since his championship winning season in 2018, even 2017 when he went on to win a bunch of races, especially at the end of the season into the round of 8 that he ended up going there. So races for Joey Logano, on top of not being that great at Darlington in his career, finishes lately 23rd at Daytona, 33rd at Michigan, 34th at Indy, 22nd at Watkins Glen. He did have a 4th at New Hampshire, 19th though at Atlanta, 15th at Road America. Those are the last 7 races. Last 7 races for Joey Logano. 1 top 10 in the last 7 races. That's not going to cut it, especially with the playoffs starting here tonight. He's going to have to kick it into high gear. My prediction for Logano, though, is he's going to get off to a slow start. And in fact, Logano, again, if you watched the predictions video earlier in the week on my playoff predictions round by round, Logano was a driver I expected to be eliminated in the round of 16 due to how much of a slump he's been on. Again, one top 10 in the last 7 races. He's got the 4th worst average finish of the last 10 races of any of the 16 playoff drivers. 4 drivers are going to get eliminated this round. I think he's going to be the first driver outside the cutoff line, and he'll be 13th, and it'll be very close, but I don't expect Logano to make his way in. Richmond's the only good track for him consistently in this round. And to go back again earlier this season at Darlington as well, he finished 13th, so didn't even run that well in that race, finished outside the top 10. So my prediction, Logano as well as Christopher Bell will both finish outside the top 10. Another driver who I think is going to finish outside the top 10, and again is a no-go for your fantasy lineups here tonight, is Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski, in his career at Darlington, has not been so hot. He, as well as Logano, only 3 top 10 finishes in the last 7 Darlington starts. Though the difference between Keselowski and Logano is it seems like if Keselowski is either very on or very off at Darlington, what those races he has finished in the top 10, those 3 top 10s in the last 7 races have all been top 5s, including one win back in 2018. No stage points in the last 3 races at Darlington as well for Keselowski. Only 1 top 10 in the last 4 races at Darlington for Brad as well. His finish at Darlington earlier this season was not good as well. If we look off of recency bias with the 750 package, of course, the last couple years were with the 550 package, so that might have hurt him, but the 750 package this year was not good in that particular race. He finished 13th. So I don't expect that was Logano that finished 13th. He finished 22nd. Keselowski finished 22nd at Darlington earlier this year, so it was very abysmal to say the least. He had some damage earlier in the race, but a lot of it was because he was the one that slid up into the wall, giving himself that damage. And we've seen that a lot out of Keselowski this year, overdriving the car, especially pretty much since that 2-week break they had for the Olympics. In fact, since the 2-week break for the Olympics, these last 4 races have been terrible for Keselowski, much like Logano. Just like Keselowski, only 1 top 10 in the last 4 races. 33rd at Daytona. The 9th was at Michigan. Indy 24th. 35th at Watkins Glen have been recent success for Keselowski. He's one of the drivers that I expected to make it to the round of 12. I don't think he's going to make it by much, though. I think he's going to be one of the drivers that are going to be towards the cutoff line by the end of the round, but I think he will outscore his teammate because he is a little bit better driver at Bristol than Logano, and he is pretty even with Logano at Richmond, but also has had recent success out of the Penske cars that dominated at New Hampshire, which is a flatter, shorter track, much like Richmond. It was actually Keselowski and Blaney that were up there rather than Logano, who fell a couple laps down earlier in the race. Although he did rally to get a top 5, he wasn't up there consistently scoring stage points. I think that is going to be similar to what we're going to see at Richmond, at least with Keselowski's side of things. So I don't expect Keselowski or Logano or Christopher Bell to be in the top 10 today. So those 3 playoff drivers you should stay away from, absolutely. Ethan Dark Crypto, welcome to the stream as well. Austin Dillon starts at the rear. Yes, he does. He was not going to be one of my sleeper picks tonight, but we'll see. Inside Uranus, welcome into the stream. Mark my words, Chase Briscoe will win Darlington. Make sure to put Chase Briscoe in your lineup. That man will be a stud at Darlington. That's not a bad prediction considering he did win an Xfinity race earlier this season. The problem is he's got no top 10s on ovals this season. 750 or 550 package, he's got no top 10s. That's hard to trust a guy like Briscoe, but it's not a terrible pick. Even though he doesn't have a top 10, it's just very, very unsafe. So the sleeper picks tonight. I only got 2 sleeper picks. We'll start off with a non-playoff driver. I wanted to try to keep playoff drivers in this discussion, but there's only one playoff driver that I think could qualify as an actual sleeper pick for tonight's race at Darlington. Well, the guy who is a non-playoff driver that is a sleeper pick is going to be Ross Chastain. Chastain didn't run particularly hot at Darlington earlier this year. He finished just outside the top 10. But if we look at recent races with the 750 package, whether it's a road course or an oval, 6 top 10s in the last 7 races with the 750 package in 2021 for Ross Chastain. That is a very good number. Those tracks would include the Indianapolis road course, Watkins Glen, Nashville, New Hampshire, Coda, Dover. So, I mean, these are some tracks, both ovals, road courses combined, and Road America as well was in there. So, road courses, ovals, Ross Chastain has been good with the 750 package this season. I think he'll get a top 10 tonight. I don't think he'll get a chance to compete for the win at all, but I think a top 10 finish is in the marks for it. I also looked at his Xfinity Series stats last season in the 2 races he ran at Darlington. Second place runner up in this kind of track conditions. I know it's the daytime versus the nighttime, but it was in September. He finished second in that race, and then he ended up 8th earlier in the season under the lights. So we'll see. But I think there is a potential. If you had to pick one non-playoff driver on your team, I think the best available non-playoff driver to put in your lineup tonight is Ross Chastain. He's a very good garage or sleeper pick. Kurt Busch, his teammate, is my other sleeper pick. Of course, Kurt is in the playoffs and has been absolutely hot as of late. 8 top 10s in the last 12 races if you include the All-Star race for Kurt Busch. His second half of the regular season has been awesome. He would have pointed his way in the top 16 after an abysmal start to the year, but that win at Atlanta helped punch his ticket even earlier. Outside of that, though, of course, Atlanta, a very loose script kind of racetrack, and notes with the 550 package, not the 750. But Kurt Busch has actually been even better with the 750 package than the 550 package this year. It's just the win came on the 550 track. Let me slip and slide tonight. I expect Kurt Busch to get a top 10. Also, to back that up, his stats at Darlington have been really, really good. He's got 6 top 8 finishes in the last 9 Darlington races. So 8 or better in 6 of the last 9 races at Darlington. That's with multiple different teams. Chip Ganassi Racing, Stuart Haas Racing, and even back with the 78 car when he won at Darlington in 2015. I expect him to have a pretty good showing here tonight. So Kurt Busch, Ross Chastain, the sleeper picks. I think they both get top 10s. A good day for Chip Ganassi Racing. Don't has that will finish outside the top 10. Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, and Christopher Bell. Ashton G, welcome to the stream. Can I ask you a fantasy football question or next stream? You can't ask me here. I'll try to get to it at the very end, but as of right now, I am crunched for time trying to make sure I get this in to get to my grandparents' house for the start of the race. Our Southern 500 went long. I mean, it took almost 3 hours. So, as I kind of expected, and I was trying to get these stats in this morning to get that race in overnight. But yeah, sure, I'll try to get to it. And if not tonight, I could get to it tomorrow, whatever. As long as your fantasy draft's not tonight, I guess. But okay, on to the must-haves. These are 3 drivers you should absolutely start tonight. Of course, with the new fantasy lineup situation, you can only start a driver 5 times in the playoffs versus it was 10 times in the regular season, but there's also only 10 races in the playoffs anyway versus 26 in the regular season. So I don't think you should have any problem really with these 5 drivers or with any drivers that will be used more than 5 times. So with that being said, you should absolutely start all 3 of these drivers, and we're going to start off with probably the least likely of them, and that would be Kevin Harvick. Least likely as far as how this season has gone. Kevin Harvick so far this season has been average. I think he's actually had a really underwhelmingly good season. He just doesn't have any wins to show for. And with a lot of people seeing last year how Kevin Harvick was the best driver pretty much from the start of the season to the end and had won 9 races, and to him have no wins this year and actually be 16th on the playoff grid with only a couple of playoff points for his regular season points finish. He finished 9th in the regular season and gave 2 playoff points. Outside of that, Kevin Harvick hasn't been very good this year. He's been pretty quiet. But if there's one thing that he has done well, while he has taken a huge step back on the 550 tracks, the 750 tracks, he is right there in the running. In the last 7 oval races, or I should say we've only had 7 oval races with the 750 package, so not including the road courses, only the ovals with the 750 package. Kevin Harvick has 6 top 10s in those 7 starts. So he has been solid with this package. I think he gets a top 10 tonight. I don't think he necessarily competes for the win. He may lead laps, who knows. But I think he can run well. On top of that, he is the hottest driver at Darlington in recent years coming into tonight's race. 11 straight top 10 finishes at Darlington for Kevin Harvick. In that same 11 race stretch, he has 8 top 5s in the last 11 races at Darlington, including 3 wins in that stretch, 2 of them last season, and then 1 back in 2014. He won the Southern 500 that year. I think Kevin Harvick is a solid lock for my fantasy lineup. He should be a solid lock for yours. especially considering he's probably maybe the least likely of the playoff drivers that you would use 5 starts with. Go ahead, use Harvick today. Really, almost any race with the 750 package, you want to use Harvick, especially tonight. Darlington is his track over the last decade, one of his best tracks in the last decade. Again, 11 straight top 10s, 8 top 5s in the last 11 races, and 3 wins in the last 7 races here. So I think Kevin Harvick is the way to go in your lineup tonight. Another driver, Kevin Harvick fan, welcome to the stream. Hey, Keegan, I did a new video called Talladega Super Speedway. I like telling you to watch it, but it's good. Hey, all right. Awesome, man. Awesome. Should I trade Kittle for Pitts or keep Kittle? Well, the season hasn't started yet, so I would just hold on to your roster. There's no need to trade anybody before the season starts. Last thing you want to do is trade a guy and then that guy goes off before the season even starts. I never make any transactions unless somebody gets hurt and they're done for a long period of time. That's the only way I drop somebody before the season would start. But hey, Kevin Harvick fan, you joined at the right time. I was just preaching how Kevin Harvick is going to have a good run tonight. I know you predicted him to win. I don't think he'll win tonight, but I do have him finishing in the top 10. I think he'll be a solid start for your fantasy lineup again. The last 2 drivers that are must-haves that you should absolutely have in your lineup tonight, Kyle Larson. We'll start off with him. He's got only 7 career Darlington starts. He has not finished worse than 14th in those 7 races. On top of that, he has 6 top 10 finishes in 7 career Darlington starts, and in the last 3 races has not finished worse than 3rd at Darlington. A 2nd and 2 third-place finishes in the last 3 races at Darlington for Larson. That would have been 2018, 2019, and earlier this year in 2021. Also, he led over 100 laps in that 2018 Darlington race en route to that 3rd-place finish. So, Kyle Larson is a must-have. You should have him on your team tonight. Means you have 5 usages with him. You got to use him. Last driver on the must-have list is Kyle Busch. He is definitely up there. One of the top 3 drivers at Darlington in recent years, and in my opinion, one of the top 3 drivers so far this season as well. In fact, I'd probably put him at that 2nd or 3rd best driver so far this season. 10 top 7 finishes in the last 12 races at Darlington for Kyle Busch. Let that sink in. 10 7th place or better finishes of the last 12 at Darlington for Busch. He's got 5 top 5s in the last 9 races in 2021 alone. 750 package road course, 550 package super speedways. It doesn't matter. Kyle Busch is getting it done on the on the 2021 schedule, and he knows how to get it done at Darlington as well. He has not won at Darlington since 2008, but he is my prediction to win here tonight. Yes, Kyle Busch is my prediction to win tonight. I predicted 5 winners correctly so far this year. Last year I had 9. We only got 10 races to go, so I'm going to have to go on a bit of a hot streak here to the end of the season to try and even match what I did last year. So I'm going to go outside the box a little bit. I'm not going to take Larson. Many people are taking Truex or Hamlin as well because of recent success they've had at Darlington. But I'm going long period of success, not only at Darlington, but again, 5 top 5 finishes in the last 9 races in 2021 as well. 3 of those races he got in accidents in the last 9, and they haven't even been his fault. He's had fast cars at the track. He's got 2 wins this year. One of those wins was in the last 9 races at Pocono as well for Kyle Busch. So I got Kyle Busch winning here today at Darlington. He finished 3rd earlier this season at Darlington as well. And remember, he actually spun out because of a flat tire in the first stage of that race, losing a lap, only having 1 caution for incident the rest of the race after that, still got back up to 3rd by the end. He wasn't in contention to win because of the long green flag run in the final stage at the end of the race. He never had a chance because I think he took either the free pass or the wave around, had to restart the back of the pack. He was never going to get up there, but he had a very strong car. They have a strong car like that again tonight. I think Kyle Busch goes on to win this race. So definite top 10 there. Top 10, I have a feeling at least top 9. Yeah, I think Harvick is definitely capable of that tonight. So, again, just a quick rundown of the predictions tonight, fantasy purposes. Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Larson, I think they all get top 10s. They are must-have. They are locks. They will be on my fantasy team. I will tell you that right now. They should be on your fantasy team as well. Sleeper picks, Kurt Busch, Ross Chastain. I think both those guys get top 10s tonight as well. So I'm predicting half of the top 10s tonight. And we'll see if I'm right on tomorrow's post-race analysis edition of the NASCAR Fantasy Podcast. And then 3 drivers I think you should stay away from. These 3 drivers will not get top 10s. They're all playoff drivers. Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, and Brad Keselowski. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Going to get on to my grandparents' house now to go watch the race with them. Spend the night with some family members that I love watching NASCAR races with and have since I was a kid. Enjoy the race tonight. I will be back for post-race analysis video tomorrow on the channel at about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you guys then.